All right, guys. Hey, what's up? So today I'm going to be talking about the new Will Smith movie Gemini Man, or as I came up with earlier, 120 frames of poop. Hey, there we go.
You have all of his gifts without his pain. You made a person out of another person. Then you sent me to kill him.
All right, man. So I'm not gonna waste too much time because I don't really want to have to edit this because this movie was like a big waste of time. So straight up, I'm just gonna go straight off the phone right now. Some observations. First off, the budget of this movie. I was like, what was the budget of this movie? And like, I went online. It says 138 million dollars, bro. Literally, this story was so unambitious. Like, you really could have made this whole movie for like 10 million. There's like three sort of like chase scenes or fight scenes or like big action sequences. And besides that, the whole movie is just this slow, boring drama throughout the entire film. And I'm like, bro, we get the point. Like, we saw the trailer. We know what's going to happen. Meet your freaking clone, bro. Let's get to it, man. Also, there's a lot of product placement for Coca-Cola. I think Budweiser too. But yeah, there's just a lot of scenes where Will just like hands the dude a Coca-Cola. I guess that's how they pay for the movie, whatever. Like, just bad product placement just always takes you out of the movie. All right, one of the most important things is the frame rate. So, in case you guys don't know what like 120 frames per second means, basically every film that we see is done with like 24 frames per second. That's the amount of sort of pictures that we have to see in order for it to look like motion. Anything more than that, like 30 frames per second, is usually used for like digital productions like TV. Sometimes they shoot like basketball games in 60 frames per second so that they could like sort of slow-mo it if they need to like get, you know, just a really close-up view of things. So this movie was shot on 120 frames per second. I think this is the first time this has ever been done. I know the Hobbit movie, they did like 50 frames per second, which is kind of a weird number. But yeah, totally unnecessary, and it looks fake. It makes this whole movie look like a video game. So yeah, that was it. Also, one thing that really doesn't help this movie is just the color of it is just like a National Geographic movie. Like, it looks like we're watching like Will Smith do like sort of like a, what do you call it, like a reality show. This movie has no color palette. Like, there's no style in this movie. It's just straight up like there's no color grade to this movie. There's no character in this movie. Like, it's an action movie. Maybe they could have gone with like sort of a sepia or like a crushed black. The movies just looks like, it looks like it looks like digital, like behind the scenes footage. Like, if you go online and you put like behind the scenes of Gemini Man, it probably looks exactly the same.
I play both 50-year-old Henry and 23-year-old Junior.
One thing I realized was the CGI for basically the face replacement that they used for Will Smith's younger version of himself was actually pretty good and pretty consistent throughout the movie, even though most of the scenes were just sort of him just standing in place, just sort of being very stiff, or just like sort of like not really doing too much, or sort of action sequences where he's sort of covering his face. Most of the time it was pretty on point. I was really looking hard just to see, and I was like, hey, yeah, it's pretty good. I felt like there wasn't much expression though until the end. At the end of this movie, basically Will Smith sends his kid off to college, and the CGI there was terrible. This is like a super brightly lit like scene, and yeah, he looked like a NBA 2K player, or like you remember in The Mummy when they had like the Scorpion King and they had like The Rock do it, and the CGI was just really bad, or like Blade or something. Like, it looked really bad. Look, they just straight up CGI'd his whole like face. So yeah, it looked bad. Even his walk was weird. Like, he was walking like an NBA 2K player. Like, it was weird, man. But yeah, that was really bad. Let's see what else. So yeah, the villain, Clyde Owen's a great like actor. He is in Children of Men. And interestingly enough, that movie's about like a place where they can't have kids, and this one they're cloning people. Whatever, man. No connection, but definitely no connection in the acting. Like, this dude is just a straight up villain from like a cartoon. He has no weight to it. He has no background story. Why does he need a clone kid? Like, why do you care? Like, I never really bought his emotional attachment towards Junior. And yeah, I don't know. He was just a villain and whatever. Didn't care about that. Throughout the movie, they established that Will Smith, he has like sort of these crutches. One of them being he's allergic to bees, which he gets stung by like some sort of bee serum. Like he just bee serum or bee venom, bee venom. Um, that and also water, for, like he can't swim or he's afraid of water because they show one flashback where his parents sort of put him in water and he's having nightmares about it. You kind of expect there to be some sort of resolution with the water situation, and I mean, you could say that they kill the ultimate Will Smith fighter at the end by, you know, just dabbing him in sprinklers and hitting him with electricity. It just was so like unnecessary and just boring. Like, I mean, he doesn't, like, Will Smith doesn't overcome his fear of water. He just, coincidence. So yeah, basically the villain's like main thing was just like, don't you want fighters with no fear? They could be better than us. And like,
You have all of his gifts without his pain.
you know, they have no fear, they have no family. Will Smith definitely with this movie, I see where he probably found the connection towards the character, and just, you know, even at one point he says he's from Philadelphia, and I was just thinking like, West Philadelphia, born and raised. But definitely, I could see him wanting to be like a deeper movie about like not having a father and going down this path, and what if you could, you know, be cloned or have a version of you that had no pain. I just feel like it didn't really hit, like it didn't connect for me. And yeah, with that, yeah, it just wasn't good. And yeah, the overall thing, like I don't care, man. It's just like I don't care about like a world of fighters with no pain and no fear. So yeah, that whole situation was just it's just so unambitious. Like, this story's so unambitious. Like, it's not like Minority Report that sort of has this technology and has this plot, and then it delves deeper and deeper into like basically the bad things that can happen with this technology. This movie's just straight up like, we can clone people. We can make a younger version of you go kill an older version of you. Yeah. Besides that, I feel like Will Smith, maybe he has some problems looking in the mirror, seeing himself age. And it's weird. Like, this really feels like a very meta movie. Like, it feels like Will Smith was like having some sort of like midlife crisis, and he like took it out in this movie.
I couldn't have played Junior at 23 years old, but now I'm able to understand and capture.
I don't know, like Will Smith really shows he's like a geek when he makes these sci-fi movies, because they're just so geeky. Like, the entire movie hinges on like the sci-fi-ness of it and not really like the emotional aspect of it. So yeah, this movie was just so boring, man. Like, and definitely like when I was talking about with the budget, like this movie had 135 million, 38 million. This movie had 138 million dollars. The same story could be told with 10 million without all the crazy, you know, CGI stuff. And it just wasn't necessary. Like, basically, it feels like a big flex. Like, they do this, like, Will Smith has been doing the same thing on his Instagram for, like, the past year or two. And, like, this movie just feels like he wanted to dabble inside of the technology and just was excited to make an entire movie with it. But it was just unnecessary, man. Like, maybe if we would have saw like a Fresh Prince movie where we did it, where the graphics and the CGI were like up to par, maybe it'd be more interesting. But this story was just boring, man. And yeah, so yeah, like watching the movie with 120 frames per second, just unnecessary. It looked cheap. Some of the scenes were interesting because they're like ultra realistic. Like, it almost feels like sort of like footage from the battlefield or something. Or being on a set, but mostly it just takes you out of it. Like, I used to shoot a lot of stuff in 30 frames or 60 frames, and I really thought it was interesting and it would be a good way to sort of be forward thinking in the film arena. But definitely our eyes are trained for 24 frames per second, and it's really the only thing that's necessary. So you're sort of just like doing an unnecessary chore to do that and project it that way. I would like to see the opinions of people who really love film and just the traditional way of shooting, because I feel like they're gonna hate it, man. I feel like they're gonna really hate this, and that's gonna be interesting. Me personally, didn't see no purpose for it. Everything about this movie was just like boring or jarring, and it was just not good. Like, don't like it. If I had to rate this movie, whew, shoot. See, like, my conflict is like, I applaud Will Smith for like taking on the concept and for just being an older guy that's this ambitious and like just constantly promoting this thing and just trying to be forward thinking. But I can't, man. This movie's a 0 out of 10, bro. It's just boring, unambitious story-wise, and everything that they do try technologically is just so unnecessary. Like, I saw some early reviews saying that it was going to give like Avatar a run for its money, or it was some sort of, you know, like big accomplishment that was going to overshadow Avatar. See, the thing with Avatar is the CGI and the 3D, even if they weren't super necessary, like they added depth and they added like sort of an aesthetic to the film. This movie, it just sort of like distracts from like even setting that aesthetic. So yeah, just bad, man. Bad. I want to forget it already. Like I said, the ending, I don't know what happened. Did they run out of money? Junior looked really bad in those last scenes. I would suggest that they fix those things. The movie's already really bad, but like, yeah, that was like cringy. That was super cringy. I don't want to see this movie ever again. And I hope Will Smith starts picking his stuff better, because like he's on The Rock right now. Like he's being The Rock right now. Like he's just like at it, like being super consistent and super just like moving. And he's not really like stopping and like think about what could make a better film. And that's troubling. He needs to chill out with Instagram and all that, because you're just oversaturating yourself. And like, look, saturation is great and it's great to see behind the scenes and all that, but you're oversaturating to the point that like you're starting to wear on our attention, where like we're not going to believe that anything you do is really as exciting or good as you say it is, because you're just so damn excited about every single thing you do. So yeah, Will, chill out. And like, he's having fun, so it's hard to like really critique that. But yeah, like I don't know what to say. Just like, yeah, like Gemini Man was like poop, man. Like poop. What? Scoopity poop. Poopity scoop. Scoopity poop. Yo, like that's what it was, man. So yeah. See y'all later. Subscribe, like, comment. Let me know what else you want me to rate. And if you love this movie, bro, like, I don't even want to hear it, man. Just go somewhere else, man.